Welcome to So-and-So, brought to you by Bernina, made to create. I'm Meg Goodman, and you're about to enjoy a casual conversation with a special member of the sewist and quilting community. A conversation about how they got started, what inspires them, what excites them, and their connection to this community. Our guest today is Ingrid Alteneder, founder and CEO of Joe, June, and May, an online quilt pattern shop, and she's joining us today from Frankfurt, Germany. Born and raised in Germany, she's traveled most of the world with her jobs and family, starting out in the fashion industry, receiving her training through a combination of schooling and working at Peek and Cloppenburg. After learning to sew garments, she began to quilt and achieved a great deal of notoriety for her work. She's the author of the book Adorable Animal Quilting, and in her spare time, she loves to bike, walk, travel, and shop. She lives in Germany with her husband and 3 children. Ingrid Alteneder, welcome to So-and-So.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm actually very honored to be part of this podcast alongside Kay Facet and Tula Pink. So I feel very, very blessed to be.
Well, thank you. It's great to have you here. We certainly have had some incredible people in the 127 episodes before you. So thank you for joining this amazing group. And let's start out with you telling us how you learned to sew and then how you made the transition to quilting.
I learned to sew probably when I was 8, 9 years old. We actually took this still as a course in school. And then obviously my mom helped me finish the first blouse that I was sewing at that time. And I still remember the binding to be perfect. And I loved it and didn't stop since.
And you have been busy in all that time. Now, you mentioned your mom. Any others that provided inspiration on your journey?
Well, my mom and my grandmother at the time, it
Mm-hmm.
was all filled with knitting, crocheting, embroidery, sewing. And this was part of my childhood. And yeah, I really loved it, and we were, at the time, those kids that were in school actually knitting while we were listening to the teachers.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
So, do you still have that first blouse that you made?
I don't, unfortunately, but I still have it in my head. I know exactly what
Sure.
it looks like. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't. I should have kept it, though.
Well, in addition to that blouse, tell us about a couple of your favorite sewing projects.
Well, then I started first with sewing clothes, and then I went into the fashion industry and worked in fashion for, well, pretty much to 30 years. And I was sewing all the way till I graduated. And then just after graduation, I actually made my first quilt back in the day in Germany. I probably didn't even call it a quilt. I called it a patchwork blanket, and it
Mhm.
was made with baby pink fabrics, different kind of prints, everything in baby pink, and I added some lace to it. So that was my very first quilt. I still have that though. And
You do.
then, yeah, I went from there.
And you and I talked about this. You love to use fabric you already have for your projects. How do you put the safe fabric to work for you?
I do save every fabric, which is actually not too good to do because like my house is full. And I do love using recycled fabrics. I don't do whole quilts out of recycled fabrics or whole projects. I just use them very sparingly, like small little pieces. And I would make maybe a zipper pouch and have 2 little squares, let's say from my dad's shirts, and give that to my sister for Christmas or something like that. So it doesn't
Mhm.
look like those memory objects kind of, but it's incorporated into the projects.
Mhm. You know, I wanna ask you a question about the training, that you got, and I find this very interesting. You had a combination of schooling, and then you worked at Peek and Cloppenburg, which is quite a notable group. And you were explaining to me that it might be a little bit different than how people train here in the United States. Would you explain to us what that training looked like for you?
It was a combination of school, university kind of training and working in the store. So we worked in the store for a couple of weeks, months, and then we would go to school for, let's say, 2 3 weeks, and then we would be back in the store.
Hmm.
So we learned everything from marketing to calculations to turnover to like all of the business part, obviously, and then at the same time everything that had to do with fabric and sewing and clothing and wool and cotton and polyester and viscose, whatever, you name it.
Hmm. And you mentioned learning the business aspect of things. And in your schooling, you did develop this background in sales, retail, marketing. Talk about how that helped you with your business.
Well, first of all, if you know how important turnover is and how important even trends are, then it makes your life a lot easier. So when
Hmm.
you spot trends, whether it's fabrics or colors or seasonal trends or maybe something that gets comes into fashion really quickly, like right now, for example, a trend on TikTok, the Ralph Lauren Christmas, everything that has to do with plaid and dark colored plaid, the burgundy, things like that. So I try to incorporate that into my patterns, and I believe it helps.
Now, you mentioned your patterns. You obviously design them. Would you share a few of your patterns with us and tell us about the inspiration behind them?
Well, that's that's a good one.
There's a few. There's a few, I'm
There's a
sure.
few. I was just thinking. Um, well, with now having almost 500 different patterns,
Hmm.
my inspiration actually comes from pretty much everywhere, anywhere, all the time. It's almost, if I'm walking down the street, I could see some tiles on the floor or on a wall or a little design on the back of a truck, and I will take notes, and then it might be a pattern tomorrow or next year or something. So I keep screenshots, I keep photos, I keep everything, and then I incorporate that into my patterns.
I want to talk about your company, which you started when you were 54 years old. It's called Joe, June, and May. Tell us how it all started and where the name came from.
Well, then we have to go back a couple of steps.
Okay?
When we had our girls, both of them are adopted from Taiwan and Thailand. I stopped working full time and stayed home. And I was then with them in the playground, and I was knitting a little sweater for my girl, like for my daughter, Sophie. And some kids came up to me and they asked me, "What are you doing?" And it wasn't like they were asking what I'm doing, as in what I'm knitting. They didn't really know what knitting was. Like they've never seen anyone sitting around knitting.
Hmm.
So I thought, oh, this is interesting. Maybe I should do some courses for kids to teach crafts, like anything from knitting, embroidery, sewing. So that's what I started when the girls were little. And then I started with Instagram to show what the kids are doing and what they're making in their courses. And then I wanted to make a boat quilt for my husband for his boat. And I couldn't find a pattern online that was what I was looking for. So I decided to make a boat pattern myself and shared that online as well, and got a lot of attention. And then I thought, well, if people like it, why not sell it? So that's how it started. And that was in January 19. And the name of my company are my three kids. That's Joe, my eldest, and then June, the second, and May, my youngest. And it's their middle names or a nickname.
Now, you have said that you want younger people to know that, first of all, it's never too late to start a company, as you did at 54. And second of all, it's important to value experience. So I'm going to quote you on something you said. We let old men run our countries, but a woman at 60 is too old. Tell us about this.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that we as women have to fulfill, for some reason, way more than other people. Let's put it that
Hmm.
way.
Hmm.
And we have absolutely no problem letting old men, and I'm not saying older, but like old men run our countries. And on the contrary, we value every word they're saying. And if a woman is past 50, it's like, okay, I guess you should stay home and have your grandkids. Like it's just not, to me, this is very surprising. And I think there is so much potential and people have so many ideas. And I think it's very important to value your life experience. And it's never too late to start something new.
Did you run into ageism as you started your company?
Not so much in the quilting industry, as the quilting industry is mainly women and a lot of women that are between 40 and 60. So, not so much in the quilting industry, in the fashion industry for sure.
Now, you just mentioned being on social media, and yet you have a very love hate relationship with it. So, talk to us about that.
Well, it is it's pretty much a full-time job, social media by
Hmm.
itself. And I do get tired sometimes of thinking of new things to post or new things to show and new things to do on one side because it's very strenuous to have new ideas. On the other hand, I wouldn't be where I am without social media.
Hmm.
And I because no one would know about me. Like, I could have had my online business, but how are you gonna get traffic? So, on the other hand, I'm actually super excited that there is something like social media because it offers, like, ample opportunities for people to find you.
Have you seen, since you've started this, an evolution in what people are looking for or how you leverage social media?
Oh, for sure. It changes all the time. It changes constantly. When I started out, we were showing photos, often just one photo and a little bit of a text. And now it is like longer videos with captions and with hooks. And it's also SEO relevant, search engine optimized. So it's not just a little photo that you used to post. It's more like a whole search engine. Like each um, social media platform works as a search engine at the same time. So even my kids, if they're looking for something, they're looking for it on TikTok. Like they're not
Mhm.
Googling anymore. So yes, we're using the platforms as a search engine and we have to adapt as business owners if we want to be found.
Does your community and your customers interact with you quite a bit on social media?
Oh, for sure.
Mhm.
Like either on social media or they send emails. But yes, there's a lot of private messaging. There's a lot of commenting, and I do get emails, positive and critical. Of course,
Mhm.
that's part of the
Sure,
business.
sure.
But I always love the positive ones, though. And yeah, it's like yes, they do communicate. It's a big community.
So I want to switch gears here for a minute. You are admittedly a prolific traveler. Would you tell us about a few of your favorite adventures?
Oh my God, where should I start? I think, oh God, there are so many. I don't even know. Yeah, I think one of the most memorable destinations were the pyramids in Egypt. And I was there a few times, but the one time I was there in 93, and it was just after a terrorist attack, and it was like the city was just empty, like no tourists. Obviously, the city is never empty with 6 million
Mhm.
people living there, but it was like there was no tourists at the pyramids, and I got to go inside the pyramid by myself. So that was like
Mm.
I still remember that, obviously. But we went to so many beautiful places, whether it was in Thailand or Myanmar or South America or Taiwan, Canada, the US. So yeah, there's a lot of nice places on earth.
Is there any place you haven't been to that's on your must go to list?
It is. I actually would love to go to Peru, and I never got to go so far. I would love to go to Machu Picchu. That's still on my bucket list, for sure.
Have your travels served as inspiration for your design and your work?
Absolutely. Like,
Mhm,
we go to Morocco quite often, and all the tiles, colors, that is a huge inspiration. Like
mhm,
I said before, my youngest was born in Taiwan. We went there, so I made a whole quilt. It's called Chinese New Year with a big golden dragon in the middle as a centerpiece. And my middle child, my daughter, is from Thailand. And so I made a quilt and a quilt pattern that's called Mindfulness. And it has a big Buddha as a center and all of the Buddhist signs around it. So that's part of our family, as like those
mhm.
cultures are incorporated in our family, but also every travel is an inspiration for a pattern for sure.
Now, in your travels, you spend a lot of time in Vancouver, Canada. As a matter of fact, your oldest was born there. Why Vancouver?
Vancouver was the head office of a company called Mariposa, which was a sister company of Peek Cloppenburg. So when I worked at Peek Cloppenburg, they had the opportunity to go to Vancouver and work there as a fashion buyer for Mariposa. And
Mhm,
that's how I moved to Vancouver and stayed there and had a child and stayed a little bit longer and then
mhm.
came back to Germany. We're still going there for the summer months, which is, yeah, I feel very blessed to be able to do that. And now with my job, I get to work in Canada as well with fabric companies, not fashion companies, sorry, fabric companies. And if you're in the same
Mhm.
time zone, it's so much easier to communicate. And I get to meet other people from the quilting industry. And one of my best friends, she's a quilter too. So we get to hang out, and that's really, really nice.
It is an amazing city. That should be on the must visit list for
For sure.
people, for sure.
Definitely.
So you've said, Ingrid, that community is everything to you, and you would not be where you are today without them. Tell us about this.
Absolutely, 100%. I can't even say thank you enough to all the amazing people that I got to meet along the way. And without the quilting community that I met online and then also offline after, but first of all, online, I wouldn't be where I am. Like, yes, social media was the first pillar stone where we could start. And then second, it was all the people that I got to meet and that I got to talk to, see what they're doing, and all like the collaborations with companies, the collaborations with other quilters. It is a really, really nice and very open community.
Do you have any special stories of an individual or a couple people that you have met and fostered a relationship with through this community?
There is a lot of quilters here in Germany because there is so the quilting community here in our country is super little. And through social media and through that quilting online community, I met really a lot of amazing people, which led ultimately then to Bernina, and which led to working with fabric companies. So that's one. And then other quilters that I collaborate with, like there are so many, Christy from Quiet Play in Australia, Leila Gardunia from Leila Gardunia, that's her company name, also from the States. There is Gabi from Brazil. There are so many. Barine from Vancouver, actually. Happy So Lucky, that's her company. There are a lot of really, really amazing people.
And without the internet and social media, you probably wouldn't have this international community. Have you met these people in person, or is
Yes.
it all you have?
I have the ones like Barine, we met a few times, and I haven't met Christy yet from Australia, but the others I met either at the fair, at fairs in Germany, or we visited when I was in Canada.
I want to talk to you about the terms hobby and little craft. And you have said it's important to take quilting and any other craft for that matter out of the hobby and little craft closet. And you have said, and I'm quoting you again, it's $1 billion industry, mostly built by women and family businesses. Tell us more about this point and why you feel so strongly about it.
Well, even though I started out as a hobby when I was first teaching the kids courses, it was sort of, like a hobby and in the afternoon to do this with the kids. But if you are doing it seriously, the way I'm doing it, from the outside, it looks like, oh, she's doing little videos for her Christmas tree placemat. But no one really sees all the hard work that's behind it. Like, and I'm not talking about the fabric sourcing and sewing, but the videotaping, the editing, the research of captions, the SEO, the pattern writing, and all of that. So this is just my little business, which is not a little business anymore, but it looks very small from the outside, but it actually is a lot bigger and it has a lot more to it than just, posting something on social media. And
Mhm.
now, like talking about family business, that's just it. Like the whole quilting industry is mainly done by women, and it's a lot of women run companies and a lot of family businesses. And now with me, the same. My son is working with me, and he was working with me on my book already. Back then, just part time, but now he's doing a lot more. And so it's growing. And I think it's very important to see that the even the quilting influencers, which depends on whether you like the term or not, are doing a real job.
So let's put on our time machine hat for a minute. If we were to fast forward, say 5, 10 years, and all of this did come to fruition, and what was called hobby and little craft really did come into its own, what would that look like? What's your vision for that?
In general, I would love for the whole craft to get out of that old lady sitting in her rocking chair knitting kind of image.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for people to know that it is filled with tons of energy and color and design and life, really. Like it's not something that's old fashioned. It's on the contrary. It has so much potential, and I just hope that it gets taken out of that little corner of people that sometimes they're thinking that, oh yeah, well, if you don't have anything better to do, then do sewing, right? But
Mhm.
it is way more than that. Like to me, it's a way of showing your art, but you're using textiles,
Mhm.
and I think that's very important.
What are you working on now?
All of the projects, you want to know all of the projects?
Sure. Pick one or
Well, the
two.
main thing that I'm working on right now is our Southwest Trails quilt that I am starting a quilt along in January with Bernina. It's going to be on the We All Sew block and the Bernina block here in Europe. And we're sewing a Southwest inspired quilt, which is funny enough, started out with a longhorn skull as a centerpiece.
Hmm.
That's where my marketing background comes in pretty handy. And actually, one customer suggested if we could change the center to a horse instead of the longhorn skull. And I did a little poll in my newsletter, and overwhelmingly, almost 80% of people preferred the horse. So we
Hmm.
changed the horse, we changed the dead cow to the horse. And now the horse is officially part of the quilt along. So this is my main work now. I'm doing YouTube videos because we're going to start January 8th. And then I'm going to show how to sew all of that. That's my main thing. And then I'm working on spring, summer, and all new patterns that will be coming out.
Tell us about your book, Adorable Animal Quilting.
It is actually, it's been, that's been 5, 6 years. It was published in 2020.
Mhm.
And it started in 19, obviously, when I did the first patterns. And it's called Adorable Animal Quilting because it is basically cute little animals
Mhm.
from wild animals, African animals, elephants and monkeys and, Australians, kangaroos, and then barnyard animals and ocean creatures. So it's a cute book for someone who wants to make maybe a Noah's Ark or a kid's quilt. For that, it's perfect. And it also has like um, the chicken family, for example. So it would be great for a table runner for Easter
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So
And people can find that on your website?
they can find the link on my website.
Okay.
Actually, it is available through Amazon and Book a Million and a couple of other larger bookstores or online bookstores, I guess.
Okay. But links on the website.
Links on the website. Yeah.
Okay. Ingrid, what's next for you and what's your dream?
I have two,
Okay.
three, four. No.
They just keep coming. Here we go.
While we're talking, well, one project that I have planned actually is to travel some more and stay wherever I go for, let's say, 4, 5, 6 weeks and work with fabrics that are local. Like, let's say if I'm going to Kenya, I want to work with wax print fabrics and then make patterns and quilts that match the feel of those fabrics. So that's one project once my kids are all graduated and hopefully on their way.
Mhm.
And the other project that's on the back burner a little bit and then I'm working on is a knitting pattern collection and maybe even embroidery patterns.
Mhm.
So I want to take that to the next step and yeah, have my son for sure. And if my daughter wants to work in the business as well, then we'll
Mhm.
have one of those family businesses too.
We talked about a lot today. Is there is and this is amazing. This is wonderful, but is there any question I didn't ask you that you wish I had?
I can't think of anything right now. We have we have covered quite a lot, I
We
think.
have. We
So
have.
amazing. Yeah.
And I'm grateful for your time. It has been wonderful to talk to you today. We had talked earlier about your website. As our listeners would like to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Probably the easiest way would actually be through the website or social media. Either the best way is Instagram, or just send me an email. Like, it's Ingrid at jojuneandmay.com. If you have any questions anytime, or find the patterns on my website. And yeah, that's about it.
Ingrid, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Well, there you have it. Another story about someone just like you. Someone for whom sewing and quilting is so much more than a hobby. It's a way of life and a connection to something bigger. If you know someone you think has an outstanding story, a story that should be shared on this podcast, please drop me a note to meg@soandsopodcast.com or complete the form on our website. Be sure to subscribe to, review, and rate this podcast on your favorite platform, and visit our website, soandsopodcast.com, for more information about today's and all of our guests. That's SEWANDSO podcast.com. And finally, I want to thank Bernina for making this program possible. I'm Meg Goodman, and I look forward to you joining us next time on So and So.